Good evening. Thank you for tuning in to Community Update 313. I'm your host, Michelle White, and my co host, Rob. What's up, Rob?
What up, though, Detroit? We have a great story today. I cannot wait to tell you about what she's doing, what she's done. I love the fact of her bio. She's got a lot going on. So if you don't know about her, you will after this show. I promise you. Ma?
Well, we've got September Faison. She is a poet, among many other things, and she's an advocate in the community. And hi, September. We're so glad to see you this
Hi.
evening.
Hey.
And
Hello.
so Rob, she's a poet, and just the other day I was attending a spoken word event in the city of Detroit. I'm in Detroit. Rob is in Texas, Austin, Texas. So we're coming to you live internationally, and we love being all over the country, and we're so glad all over the world, and we're so glad September that you're here. And at some point this evening, we want to have you share one of your poems, and I just happened to go to a spoken word event the other day, and who was there sharing but September? And I love that name.
Thank
So,
you.
September, tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the
Uh,
things that you do.
so, as you stated, I am a poet. I've been doing poetry since middle school, really. It's always been therapy for me. And I'm also a speaker and author. I have 6 published books that are available on Amazon. I'm also working on my website, and I have a 7th book title on the way that I collaborated with Les Brown, the
Oh,
motivational.
wonderful.
What's
Yeah,
that?
so that will be released in the morning, actually.
That's
It's
Okay.
called
great.
Unstoppable Voices. Yes, also a playwright and advocate in the community. I do advocate for domestic violence and sexual assault survivors. I'm a survivor myself.
Mhm.
I also advocate for returning citizens and incarcerated individuals. So I am
Just
really
in the
multifaceted.
community,
I'm everywhere.
multifaceted community leader,
I was gonna say
Yes.
artist.
there's nobody that you are advocating for so far. That's a good
You
thing.
covered the gamut.
Yes.
But that's
Yes.
wonderful.
Happy to
And we're going to
see.
even have your brother on this evening who's currently
Yes.
incarcerated,
Yes, it is.
Mr. Kenneth Cooper. And
Yes.
he's going to be with us this evening to share some of his story and some of the things that are going on where he is currently incarcerated. I'm sorry,
Yes.
Rob, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, did you happen to check out our it was a couple of episodes ago. We had somebody or a group of ladies on that were talking about domestic violence, and just were
Yes.
curious if you saw it.
No, I'm gonna have to check that out
Yeah,
though.
definitely check it out. There are a lot of things that we spoke about, and I'm sure you
Okay.
could elaborate on because there were two sides. There was the side of the abuser, and
Hmm.
there was the side of the abused, which brought up tons of questions.
Mhm.
It sparked a lot of interest, to which I'm
Yes.
pretty sure you would have your people say 2 cents, but I think when it's something that you are close to, it's more like 30 cents or maybe a dollar.
Right.
And we're
So
Yes.
thankful that you
Yes.
came out of that domestic violence situation and you're doing much better now.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
you're
it was great.
taking your experience. You look wonderful. And you're
Thank
taking your
you.
experiences that you've been through and probably writing and speaking about that in 6 books. You
Absolutely.
have to tell us where we can go to get one of your books. And definitely when I see you, I'm going to be attending another event and maybe even see you next Tuesday, which
Yes.
is where I initially met Faison at an organization called, what's it called?
Integrate
313
313.
Integrate 313,
Yes.
that helps returning citizens. It's kind of a forum for them to get information, them to have an outlet to speak at and vent and so forth.
Yes.
But so I was there sharing
Mental health.
information, mental health.
Yes.
So that's where I
Absolutely.
initially met you at, as you were sharing, and I was there sharing, and I'm going to be bringing some things. The White Charity Foundation, spelled WYTE, is going to be bringing some goods and clothing and utilities. What do you call it? Pots and pans and things to some of the returning citizens that might need some things.
Beautiful. Beautiful as it is needed. They need all the
Yeah.
resources they can get.
Hmm.
I,
Absolutely.
I think one of the things and that I hear from people, they just got out or they're thinking about getting out. The
Mm-hmm.
process of what am I going to do?
Right.
So hits you, and I've talked to a few people, and they go, well, that's why I actually went back because I knew I didn't have this, I didn't have that, and the few
Right.
months you've been there, you may not have the same supporters that you had the first time. So now,
Exactly.
who do I know that'll help me out? Go to
Right. And it's easier in there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
But now
they
the
fix
flip
you, they
side to
clothe
that
you.
is you. The flip side to that, you guys, is you can't expect. You wait. The person you have to expect from is your higher power, whatever you call them.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Whatever you call them,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
if you come out with the expectation or the attitude that, well, I need you to help me, well, you supposed to help me,
Mm-hmm.
that
yeah.
won't get you anywhere.
Right.
That
Right.
might get you a cuss out
Right.
instead of
No,
a help out.
I think more so we were just agreeing on there when you let's say you aren't saved, which is not everybody, right?
Right.
And I don't care if you call him Jesus, your higher power, Allah, whatever you want to call it. There are other things because you're talking about a different level of faith with tried, seen, and true. But before you get there, before you get to that spot, when you're
Mm-hmm.
still young in that thing, you're still going, how do I figure it out? And yeah,
Exactly.
it sounds great to the person that's not in jail. And all you got
Right.
to do is pray to the person. And again, I believe that that's true. But to the
Yes.
person that's directly in it, that's not mature in that spot yet, not necessarily mature, but just in
Mm-hmm.
that spot, that sounds like miss me. Like when
Right.
the scripture says,
Exactly.
But
Right.
you
Give
know what
me
I
give me clear solutions.
we're going to have your brother to confirm this, because I want to ask this question, because what I found,
Mhm.
I've been working in serving in prison ministry for over 20 years. I actually started when I was 17, so just a couple of years ago. But
Right. Right.
but
a
but
couple.
what I found is they all latch on to some type of group. It's a
Yes.
protection, it's a group to hang with, and it's usually some type of spiritual group, whether it's the
Yes.
Moorish, the Christians, the Muslims, the different things, the
Yes.
Buddhists. And so whoever it is that you're connecting with, you need to, but nonetheless, there are many organizations and many agencies such as the White Charity Foundation that helps people to get clothing and pots and pans and furniture and cups and plates and couches and tables and chairs.
Right. The
So,
necessities.
and there's
Absolutely.
the necessities,
Necessity.
and we're going to be talking more about that, and but I want to hear more about you, uh, September, and your journey, and we want you to share one of your poems with us, and
Please, please.
yeah, and just tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you got to the point of what you're doing now. Because when you were a child, who knew, you probably didn't know you'd be doing all this, but you did
No.
say you started poetry when you were very young.
Yes.
Hmm.
I had, we all have a story.
Hmm.
And I have, childhood trauma, the daddy issues and the mommy issues, and I was a rebellious teenager, and I went through the phase of blaming everyone else for
Mm,
the decisions I was making,
Hmm.
and it took almost 40 years for
Hmm.
me to get to a point to where I realized that I'm responsible for me. I'm
yeah,
Hmm.
responsible for the decisions I've made. And once I let go of the blame game and the victim mentality,
Hmm.
um, I became a warrior in my own right.
Yes.
And that's when everything turned around and I found my purpose. And, I've been a poet for a long time, and I've always said I don't want to turn it into a job.
Hmm.
And my writing has evolved over the years, and it's not a job. When you have a purpose, when you're given a purpose
Hmm.
and direction and guidance, and you're being guided into, I
Hmm.
don't want to say forced, but when you're
Hmm.
being guided and led into what you're supposed to do, it's
mm,
not a job, it's not a hassle, it's actually
yeah,
freeing.
Mm-hmm.
and I feel so good. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much weight off my shoulders since I've been tapping into my true purpose, which is to get my story out and also help others who have childhood trauma, who've dealt with alcoholism, who've dealt with um, physical, mental, sexual abuse, because I've been through it all,
Mm-hmm.
grief, everything, anything you can name, I've been through it, whether directly or
Hello, me too.
yes, and it's just freeing when you are able to find that release, and that
Yeah,
release is your purpose, and my purpose is in my writing, is in my storytelling, and is touching other people. I hear people tell me, I'm so glad you did that poem, or I'm so glad I read your book. I have children's books, I have poetry books, I have personal development books, and it all comes from my experiences and everything that I've been through. And I'm just so grateful that I'm able to help others, get through whatever they're going through. I'm an emotional writer. So I write when I feel whatever I'm going through at the moment, and it translates into something helpful and something beautiful for the next person. And to me is it's all worth it.
that's
I have
part
a
of your
question for you.
purpose.
The
Go
same,
ahead.
because you said that you're an emotional writer,
Yes.
which is a good thing because that means you're just pouring everything out. D- so real life, right? You are not only a woman in the world, you're a black woman in the world, right? And
Yes.
I do a lot of talks with a lot of different people, and I hear this common thing. This may not be yours, but I'm just curious.
Hmm.
Um, there's this expectation for you to always pick yourself up from your bootstraps, but then you get a pass in a certain way, but then there's this expectation where, hey, well, yeah, you're a woman, but you're a black woman, so you're almost like a guy, like not
Right.
really, but how they treat you. it,
Yes.
it that's what I hear, but I've also heard some people go, no, that's not a thing. I wonder if that comes out in your spoken word, where that's something where you're like, hey, like, do you talk about it being a strength, or do you talk about it overcoming, or do you go, man, this is just hard?
All of the above.
Okay.
I have poetry that goes from the brokenhearted to the strong warrior to the helpmate to the thought leader. It encompasses everything, because as a black woman, I've experienced everything.
Uh,
I've experienced the um you are strong, or you're supposed to be strong, and don't cry. And I know they usually say this to men, you're not supposed to cry, but the bad thing about that is being seen as a strong woman. People forget that we need hugs too, that
yeah,
we need support
yeah,
too. We need that backup.
mhm,
We can't do it all ourselves.
yeah.
And I think people forget that,
Mhm.
you
Say
know.
that again, my sister,
They
because
say strictly a
a
strong
lot of
boy.
men but a lot of men think she said something so profound, because a lot of people think that when you're a strong woman, but you really, we're just doing what we have to do to make it and keep doing it.
Absolutely.
And people think that you don't need anything, that I don't need, you don't need a man
Mhm.
because you're just doing everything yourself and you're strong. That's hogwash.
Or
First
ex
of all, we all were created to be together on the
Right.
planet.
Yeah.
So we
Exactly.
need, and the strongest woman you might encounter in the world still desires at some point, even if it's just a hug, something
Yes.
from a
Yes.
man. Would you
Yes.
agree?
Yes.
Yeah. But they don't
Absolutely.
think we need that a lot of times.
to
Right.
to add to what both of you are saying, I don't necessarily think it's just a woman. Sometimes they go, "Oh,
Yeah,
well, women
men
need
too.
something." Men need it,
Mhm.
right?
Men need it too.
Yes.
Looking, since we're going into the space of your brother, they
Mhm.
talk about the legal limits for solitary confinement, because
Mhm.
you are, and that's something I feel like they need to change, because not only are you in this small cell with maybe one other person, the connection and the desire
Right.
to be with somebody. If you're by yourself, you start going crazy, and it's a
Yes.
proven fact. And it's like, hey,
Yes.
can you keep me in the dark? And you wonder why I'm talking to myself now. You know, what I mean, like there's
No, that's real.
only child that I played games and I'd be talking junk. Well, I mean, I never answered. Let me clarify. But I never was like, "Hey, Rob, hey, brother." And I never did that. But you talk to yourself because you have these thoughts in your brain, and there's only so many times. If there was a person in my house when I was in my house by myself, I'd just be saying stuff out loud, you know, and and so I can only imagine how many times I could do that before I started to respond because I'm not
Yeah,
having any interaction, right? And so your
exactly.
internal thoughts become external, and
Yes,
it's such an unhealthy space to not have connection with. I mean, whether you go from the Bible or whether you just go from science, both of them prove you need connection with people.
absolutely.
It's so imperative to have community and to have that connection. I think it's very important.
Yes, yes. And I also do it's called Poetry in Motion Art Show. I
Mhm.
do every second Saturday where I bring spoken word artists and visual artists together because I don't think the artistry community gets enough love and attention.
Mm,
So I do that as well. And it's all therapy to me. The artists have said that, painting and drawing is a release for them.
mm.
So it's all a therapeutic setting, it's all a community setting. So I am 100% with mental and emotional therapy.
Is that
However, you
something
have
like the show that I attended? The art, there was art on the wall. There was art behind what
it was
you all
similar.
when you were
Yes, it's a
when you were
similar event.
speaking.
Yes,
Okay, that was wonderful. By the way, I
yeah, that
really
was
enjoyed
very
that,
much
and the
fun.
art was phenomenal.
Yes, it was.
Beautiful artwork.
And we
It
can talk
was.
after the show too. I'm not in Detroit anymore, but I still have all the same friends that are, and there are a lot of them are in the music and the spoken word space. And I'd be
Oh,
curious to see
absolutely.
what we could do something with that to take that. I'm sure you're doing everything right now, but just to add the connection there. Again, as we
Absolutely.
talk about connection,
Maybe
Listen,
definitely.
we can do a
networking is
show
where it
one
is.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, that could be something that we do as well.
Do a
Um,
live show on site at one of the spoken word events.
yeah,
absolutely. I
that
would love that.
That would be cool.
I truly
Mhm.
believe that music is my number one thing. I don't
Okay.
know, but I think a spoken word and goes in line with music
It
because
does.
it just sounds so real when you have rhythm to it, like not
Yeah.
necessarily like reading a book, but you use your smile, your eye contact, your enthusiasm, all those
Mm-hmm.
things that go into making it real, whether it be from a dramatic stance and all those different things, which to me is like music. And so I think
Yeah.
all those things are healing to the soul, which is a awesome thing. So I'm really just prepping you to go ahead and drop us with something so we can hear. I'm trying to give you all the words to make sure
Ah,
we can
okay.
have something that's right on that.
Yeah, give us one of your spit us some word.
Okay. My pleasure. So I have a poem. Is the name of the poem is Beautiful You, but it has been renamed to Black Girl, which is fine. Um, but I was asked to do one for Black men in response to that poem. So that's the one I will do today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Dear Black man, I know sometimes it feels like the world wants to swallow you whole, but just know you are strong, resilient, and loved. The picture they paint is a deceptive perception that you are less than a man. Always scrutinized, criticized, penalized just for being alive. I mean, they want to throw you away like you're the forgotten sons, knowing you're the begotten sons, the chosen ones. Having a son, I've been a witness. But luckily, he's well spoken enough to fit into whatever box society decides to put him in. Like, well, you're too studious to be a nigga, but melanated enough to still pull the trigger. And I get it. They see you as a threat. No matter how big, small, short, tall, in that book, you did it all. The murders, the rapes, the carjackings, every move you make is a mistake, an excuse for them to execute. Black man, you are the gift they'd rather kept hidden, Eve's forbidden, low hanging fruit. Sell you on the auction block like your livestock, mocking you in their cowardice, knowing you are powerless, but wouldn't dare go toe to toe on level playing field. It's unreal how they twisted your history to make you forget your divinity. Identity stolen, trolling, and the world wonders why your mental is so sick. Sick of the lies, the manipulation, castration of your dignity. Your own kind are your frenemies, smiling in your face while turning you in to the real enemy, trying to get a taste of that sweet American whites only pie, dying to get a seat at their table. But don't fall for the fable that you're worthless. The Frederick Douglasses, Louis Vuittons, the Patrice Lumbumba's, the Malcolm X's, Marcus Garvey's, the Medgar Evers, Nelson Mandela's, all paved the way to remind you that you are great. Black man, you carry more baggage than a postman. Society would rather beat you down than lend a helping hand, but please understand that as a Black woman, I am your number one fan. We see your efforts. We feel your pain. We understand your struggle. We also know that you've come too far to buckle. You are brothers, friends, fathers, sons. Keep your head up, King. There's still too much work to be done. Boom.
Woo!
There we go. I got to give you an applause for that.
Yeah, give me some applause. That sound applause.
That was great. That was
Phenomenal. I told her
Thank you.
you are really good. I mean, I say
I
that
appreciate
with
that.
all sincerity.
I wanted to
I
drop
Yes.
the bass
definitely
line in
appreciate
the back,
that.
but I just can't do it on this one.
You said, what did you say?
I said I wanted to drop a bass line in the back just so I could keep going. I was gonna give you air guitar and see what I could do, but it just wasn't. I didn't want to mess you up. No, but that was great. That was great. So let's
Thank
talk
you.
about you having a master's in administration of criminal justice and psychology. Like, what
Yes.
made you want to go there?
So when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer.
Okay.
And I actually spoke with some lawyers, and I didn't really like how they, and it may have just been those particular individuals, but
Mhm.
I didn't want anyone's life in my hands.
Mm,
Right. And I also saw some things within the criminal justice system that I didn't like.
mm,
So I kind of changed, but I still wanted that information.
mhm,
I wanted that knowledge of how everything worked. And I've also been curious of how the mind worked and why people did things that they did. So psychology was
mm.
streamlined. That was perfect. So they both kind of went hand in hand, but yeah, I definitely changed my mind about being a lawyer. I was like, no, I don't want to be responsible for whether you live or die. Go away for the rest of your life. I don't want to do that. But yeah, so that's why I went to school for those things.
I One of the reasons so I've always had this, and you could tell me if you felt the same way. I think it I think that a part, not the whole thing. I think
Hmm.
representation is very important, but I think there is a problem because the motivation changes when the state has an attorney that only keeps their jobs off of wins instead of truly finding out if they're right. And it's like,
Yes,
hey, well, I know you're innocent, but I got to prove you guilty so I can get this win. And it's
yes,
like, oh, well, not everybody, because you got to have the right heart, right smart. Like, no, I know that because we've seen it so many times where somebody could be guilty, but because
yes,
depending on which side you're trying to fight, or somebody could be extremely innocent, and because you're fighting to win and not to
hmm,
find out the truth, it really bothers me that there's this. Oh well, you've seen one case, you've seen them all, and that's why they
and
have like this. I think that's one of the jobs where, especially if you're defending the state, where
hmm,
you can't. It's almost like being a pilot. You can't have a C average. You
right,
know, You got to land the plane every time.
Yes,
Because
straight A.
like, don't tell me that you almost landed last time. Like, all you do, we did it a little bit.
Exactly.
It was a bumpy ride. You can no longer be a pilot, sir. I think
Right.
it's the same way when it comes to the prosecutor. It's like, hey, you got to be sure when you're using this evidence and going, oh no, this
Yeah.
person did it, because people are believing what you're
Yes.
saying, and you have the innocence of a jury that that you guys have hand selected to try. I mean, even that. Hey, we're not going to get regular people. I'm gonna get somebody that's going to believe me only.
Exactly. It's all bias, and I was
Just a
yes.
little shaky, and then the judge is also on the side because he wants to go higher. He or she, excuse
Yes.
me. So
Yes.
now it's just like, you know,
It's all a
that's
problem.
too many
which
briefcases.
is which is why we have so
To the
many
table.
people that have been that are
Yeah,
wrongfully incarcerated.
Absolutely.
The system
Absolutely.
is biased. I mean, it's just not. The system is broken and
It
needs to be
definitely is.
fixed. Hmm.
It,
I
oh,
I used to say that it was broken, and I was
Hmm.
corrected by a friend of mine, and she said, no, the system is working exactly how it was intended to work. It just
Hmm.
wasn't
That's
meant to
true.
work for us.
there it is.
That's true.
So the system is actually working in rare form. It's perfect.
Hmm.
It,
Yes.
It
it
was
is.
For
designed
them.
as another form of slavery.
Yeah,
It
it is.
it was not designed to move us ahead, to give us justice.
No,
None of
it definitely wasn't actually seen or there to prove if we were actually innocent. It says you're innocent until proven guilty, but if there's enough people that go against it, or depending on who's there, or
it.
you're
Yes.
guilty until you're proven innocent. And,
Exactly.
and you can see it in so many ways. I used to be a part of it was called the international debate team uh,
Uh-huh.
in high school, and I loved debating. I loved it. I grew up doing it, and my mom had me in tons of things like 4-H and all types of things. So I loved doing that. But then there was the other side. When you do the international debate team, whether or not you agree or you oppose, you have to fight on that side because you want to win. And
Because
I,
yes,
well, number one,
yes.
I didn't want to go to school that long.
And justice and truth has no place in it.
There's no place in it. Justice, I mean,
Yes.
it's justice happens a portion of the time where you go, hey, it actually went our way this time. But
Right.
usually it's just based off of who can convince a jury, right or wrong,
Exactly.
or
My brother is actually on the line now.
oh, perfect, perfect.
Awesome.
Are you there? Can
Are
you hear
we
me?
able to bring up his picture at all?
Yep, give me 1 second.
Yes, I'm here.
So, welcome. How
You all
many
hear him?
minutes can he be on? You forgot to tell me. Is it 15 or longer?
15.
Okay. So, we've got Kenneth Cooper, who is on right now, who is September's brother. And Mr. Cooper is currently in one of our correctional facilities is he in Michigan?
Yes.
And we're welcome, Mr. Cooper.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you hear him?
Minister,
Yes.
Okay.
Minister Michelle, good evening
Yes, sir.
to you and your husband, and thank you for this opportunity to bring awareness to my wrongful conviction. God bless you. You got a big order updating the community, and I commend you and your husband.
Oh, that's not my husband.
I'm
We're related, but
It's
it's
so good right now. I'm telling you, it's good.
not. Hey, Rob.
I said you just made her feel so good because now she doesn't look like she's her age. She could be.
That's my son. He's my son.
Okay, yes, sir.
But we're glad to have you on.
My
Oh no,
apologies.
no apology necessary.
You're fine.
Yes, and we're so glad to have you on this evening. I don't know if September told you, I currently serve in two of our correctional facilities, Macomb County Correctional Men's Facility, and in Huron Valley Women's Facility. And Huron Valley is the only women's prison in the state of Michigan. So we're glad to have you on, and we want you to tell us about some of the things that you encounter, some of the things that you're doing now, um, and some of the things that you encounter, because people don't always know. They have different stereotypes of what they think are from movies, but not necessarily some real life stories. So please share.
Absolutely. And absolutely. And I'm just coming tonight to actually bring awareness to my wrongful conviction. My case was actually overturned in 2022 by the Michigan Supreme Court and remanded back for an evidentiary hearing. And when this
Can
hearing
you
did not
step?
take
Wait a
place
minute.
until the
Can you step back from your phone maybe a tad, or maybe that's it, because it's coming across, but it's a little. I want people to hear you clearly.
so can you hear me clearly now?
Perfect.
Yes, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay. Well, what I was saying is that my case was actually, my name is Kenneth Cooper. I was convicted in 2002 of felony murder. I was sentenced to life in prison, a sentence that I have always fought and maintained my innocence for the crime because I didn't commit the crime. I didn't commit the murder at all. In 2022, my case was remanded back by the Michigan Supreme Court for evidentiary hearing. This hearing did not take place until July the 19th, 2024, by Judge Baker Robinson. At this hearing, we thought everything that was going to be put on the floor as far as the evidence and everything that was placed against me. The judge openly told the prosecution that there was no evidence presented against me that I committed the crime. She said that I was under a false conviction. And all this saying, she said that I was never placed at the scene of the crime and all of that. And she still denied my motion despite everything that was said, despite the higher court telling her to apply the jury standard, and she just applied her own personal opinion about everything that goes on. She acknowledged that there was no evidence against me that I committed the crime. She acknowledged that I was under a false conviction. She acknowledged that there was nothing placing me at the scene of the crime before, during, or after. But she continued to deny my motion. So right now, we are at a place where we have to hold them accountable for acknowledging a miscarriage of justice. That judge admitted that I was under a false conviction, admitted that there was no evidence, the prosecution's case was not overwhelming, and she continued to still deny the motion. A trial judge had to have a duty that when they acknowledge a miscarriage of justice, they must correct the error, whether she tried on the case or not. When she acknowledges it, she has to do it. And that's where I'm at right at this moment.
So do you have organizations that you're working with, Prison Fellowship or some other organization? Because I know that there are several organizations that are helping with some of the injustices in our system, like what you just spoke about, the wrongful convictions.
Right now, I'm not working with any organizations. Right now, it's just me and my family getting the word out, going to rallies like they just had on October the 15th in front of the New Justice Center. And that's how we've been getting the word out. But we can't do it alone. It takes a community to bring the awareness to the injustice that's going on right now. Right now, I'm sitting in prison for the last 24 years for a crime I did not commit, a crime that the courts, this is the fourth judge that have made an admission that I did not commit this crime. But I still continue to sit in prison. And it's why? Because they're not being held accountable for going according to the law.
May I ask what county were you in when this was done? Were you up north, or where were you?
I was in Wayne County.
Okay. And are you familiar with Prison Fellowship organization? Prison Fellowship. You need to reach out to Prison Fellowship. They are an organization. I've sat in on some of the meetings with different legislators. They are trying to help overturn a lot of the wrongful convictions, and they've been successful at helping to overturn some of the wrongful convictions with various counties throughout Michigan, but in particularly Wayne County. Prison Fellowship. Reach out to them. I don't know if you have something to write with, but there's a young lady. Her name is Lynn Justifason. LYNNJU, Justification. Sound that out. I don't know. Just, so she was on our show too a few months ago, and but that organization is, that might not be her area, but that whole organization is helping with wrongful convictions and to overturn some of that, because it's a shame. And we were just talking about that and saying how the system is broken, and Robert said it's not broken, it's designed to keep you in, even though the Supreme Court has said you're being unjust. The lawyers, everybody has said that you are not, this is a wrongful conviction, but yet they're still keeping you in there for 20. That should not be. That needs to be stopped. And there are a few organizations that are helping with that.
Yeah. Yes, and I appreciate you saying that, because even after the judge Baker Robinson assessed all the evidence that was presented to me in trial and that was presented to her for my evidentiary hearing, she said the only thing that was presented against me, that I was in possession of stolen property, and that carry a 4-year max. And I've been incarcerated for going on 24 years.
Wow.
24 years now. And you asked the question of what I'm doing now, where I'm a part of the NLA Chapter 1013, who's helping the community in Detroit. If you go on the Facebook, you can see everything that's going on.
It's called NLA.
NLA Chapter 1013.
And you're also on Facebook?
On the chapter. Yes, on Facebook. Okay. Also, I'm a facilitator for victim awareness. I am in the debate class. I actually facilitate 2 different classes, Houses of Healing. I actually I took mental health, men's mental health 101, grief and loss. I work with the mentally ill. I've taken inside out classes with the U of M. I have done various classes and things that put in my toolbox, so when I get into society, I remain into society and be a productive individual.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. We're so, sorry to hear about what has happened and the experiences. But these tests and trials, they're making you stronger. As you're even, you just stated, you're keeping your mind sharp and preparing yourself with the classes that you're taking to get your boots on the ground and help others. And you're helping others now. And for when you leave, you'll be prepared, and you'll have the credentialing behind you, the experience behind you to help others. And we just had Cedric Tooks on, that just was wrongfully convicted and was just on here a few weeks ago.
He was here with me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he was just on our show a few weeks ago, and he is out and he is moving and doing and getting right up under the mayor and working and just, helping in the community. And I see you coming out and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, and I appreciate you saying that. One thing about it is that you asked about the conditions. When Paul was in prison, he wrote to the Ephesians. But when he wrote to the Ephesians, he didn't write to the Ephesians to complain about the conditions of the prison. He wrote to the Ephesians, Ephesians, to encourage the people to be obedient to God. So my fight and what God has placed in me today is, my faith is so strong that I know that I'm going to walk out this prison and never to return. But I know it's a process. But in that process, we have to know that without a doubt, and I know without a doubt that I'm going to walk out this prison. But it gets rough. I'm frustrated. And I'm not angry. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed with the system and the justice system for not doing the right thing and not being held accountable for when they just do things on their own accord and not go according to law.
Well, I'm going to contact Lynn Justification myself, and so I'll get some more information from September, so that they can look at your case, because they do have several lawyers on staff, and they help. And it's a couple of organizations, and I'm going to get your information from September to get it to them so they can look at your case, because there are things that are happening where some changes are being made, but it's a process, as you well know. So you keep fighting, you keep trusting in God. And I'm so glad that you mentioned Paul,
Amen.
because Paul and Silas, how'd they get out? When they started praising and
Yes.
worshiping, then the
Absolutely.
prison doors open. So always, and sometimes men don't want to open up their mouths to praise. They don't want to lift up their hands because that seems maybe too girly or something. But that's one of our weapons of warfare.
Yeah.
And Paul and Silas are an excellent example of that. So you stay strong, my brother. Stay encouraged. You are, and I love that you said you're a man of faith. You're a man of great faith, and so
Yeah.
you keep that faith,
I
keep
am.
that great faith, and know that you're in. And I'm glad you see it. You're expecting it and see that you're coming out. And I can't wait for you to come out so that we can help get you some furniture, get you in your own home, and get you started, get you a job, and get you going for the
You
next
have
phase of
5
life.
minutes
Yeah.
remaining.
And
Any
it,
last thing you want to share? Go ahead. Go ahead.
In closing,
oh,
I just want to say that I appreciate this opportunity because it's time for justice to be heard. It's time for people to be held accountable for everything that's going on. And Scott Lewis, I gotta say, Scott Lewis, Darren Siegler's attorney Komorski, and my legal team that I have now has been awesome in bringing about this truth. But once again, I can't do it alone. My family can't do it alone. We need help. And the help is we need people to bring out the word. And no, I just don't want this to be the one thing that I come on the podcast and people forget about Kenneth Leon Cooper, because we're not going to let them forget it. God is not going to let them forget about my name. I want my name to be in the boardrooms, the rooms that it need to be in, and talked about, because I'm here, but I'm coming out of here.
That's
I love it.
right.
Amen.
Well,
Amen.
amen. Thanks you
Hey,
for being our guest, Mr. Kenneth Leon Cooper. Go ahead, Rob, real quick.
I was gonna say, be.
Oh, he's off.
Oh, okay. Here to go. I was just
Mhm.
gonna say it's literally what we were talking about September, and Amanda. There's one thing to have this faith when you're not in it, but when you are actually there and you're speaking words like that, you can do nothing but respect that. So I was gonna just say
Yeah.
salute to him for that, because that requires a different level. Everybody has a plan until it happens to them, and
Right.
Mhm.
when you're in that,
Right.
say, "Oh, I would never be." You are only one mistake that nobody knew about, or one secret that you kept to yourself from
Mhm.
Exactly.
being in that same situation. So to see him in that situation, there's a lot of people, saying justice for Kenneth Cooper, free the innocent, free Kenneth Cooper, right here on the live right now,
Absolutely.
which is awesome. And I think that this story, and just like plenty of other stories where you can see there's so many times, this is why, where people are wrongfully convicted, and maybe there's something in there, but then they took this one thing that should have been, this, and then
Right.
they made it this. It's like, wait a
Exactly.
minute, that's not a part of it. It's not any,
Right.
you shouldn't be tacking things on just because you want to make your conviction look stronger. If I'm guilty of something, I'm guilty of something. But if I'm not guilty of something, don't just try to win. Like, to me, that should be
Exactly.
when you're finding actual justice and actual truth. I think it's a I think it's a shame when people are in this situation where you're like, hey, I'm trying to keep the faith, because that can break people's faith. But so
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
applaud them doing that, keeping that faith 20, 40 years later. Definitely.
Mhm. And I
Yeah.
loved hearing him say, "I'm a man of great faith." That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
Oh,
takes that.
he
Awesome.
definitely keeps his head up. It's not always easy. You
Mhm.
know, is times where we
Mhm.
really have to sit
Encourage him.
and talk
Mhm.
and pull
Mhm.
him back up, because it's
Mhm.
emotional,
Mhm.
and we're not in there, but we're doing the time with him,
Mhm.
so it is rough, especially knowing that you are locked in a cage and you're innocent.
Mm.
It's one
Mhm.
thing if you actually did what they locked you up for. But it's another
Mhm.
thing when you're in there and
Yeah.
that you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother animal right there that you have to deal with and face every single day, you
Mhm.
Yeah.
know. So it's
Well, thank
definitely
you for
some
bringing
struggle.
him on, your brother on September. And again, I'm going to get some information to you. and speak to some people on Kenneth's behalf that I'm working with, because I have been um, talking with some of the legislators that are helping to overturn some of these laws. And I'm just a citizen working with some of the organizations that are really doing the main work. And so we're going to get his name before some of them. And I'll need you to help me with that, with
Absolutely.
some more of the detailed information that they'll need to know.
Absolutely. I definitely
Awesome.
appreciate it. We appreciate it,
Hmm.
because it's been too long. It's been
Mhm.
too long, especially when you have judges and lawyers and, even police who know that you were wrongly convicted, who said on record that you were wrongly convicted, and nobody is doing anything.
It's a numbers game. He's $30,000 ahead. I think
Yeah.
it's 30,000 that the state pays per
Well, the fact that you get paid more for
person.
keeping people in,
Hmm.
and
Right,
that's the problem.
right,
You know,
And
it's
then they don't even get the money. They don't even get that money. They get paid cents for working, like pennies
right.
to
Yeah,
work, and then they have to pay for their own medicine
yeah.
and
everything,
toiletries, everything.
everything,
Have you guys ever
everything.
seen a show? It's called 60 Days In. You ever seen it?
Yes,
And
yes,
so I watch that show all the time. I just like it does all the things for me. It has the drama, it has the violence about everything, right?
yeah, yeah.
But it's it's amazing and also sad at the same time, because
Hmm.
I think about this, especially in situations like your brother's case, where these people who don't belong there, didn't
Right,
do anything to go there, in order for them to survive, they have to adapt and to
Hmm.
assimilate in
Hmm.
order
yes,
to be alive. And so
Hmm.
let's say you don't get in with the black gang and you're black. Let's say
right.
you're white and you don't want to agree with the Aryan Nation, which let me also, this is a true fact as well. The biggest gang in jail is the Aryan Brotherhood. Somebody says
Hmm.
like Crips and the Bloods, and I'm like, nah,
No,
no,
Hmm.
that's not the biggest gang. We don't even have people that to be the biggest gang, but that's another show,
right.
right?
Exactly.
But going in there, let's say you don't agree with I hate everybody but this, right?
Right.
Depending on what side you come from. Well, what do? Well, a lot of the black guys that I know that have been incarcerated or not, I had a buddy that just got out, and
Hmm.
we used to play basketball together all the time. And seeing now the difference was he actually did what the situation was, but he got
Okay.
out, and but in order to survive, because he wasn't really that type of guy, he got in the wrong situation at the wrong time, but in the right place for him
Ah,
to get caught.
yeah.
And with that, what do you have to do? You got to turn to the biggest thing there that looks like you. So you go to the Islamic faith and you start praying like that. So now you don't have to fight, right? You go, hey, well, I don't want to have to agree to whatever it is. And
Right. But you
I'm
have
not
to
saying
survive.
that you have to whatever you believe. I'm
That's what I
saying
was saying. They select groups that
Right.
they're going to become a
forces you.
part of.
Yeah,
It's sort of like their gang or their protection,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
whether it's the
Yeah.
Moors, the Islams, the Christians, the Buddhists, the whomever,
Yeah. It's all about
you can't just
survival.
get into the Aryan Nation one. You got to
Right.
look a certain way.
Well,
But
unfortunately, from what I hear, uh,
mhm.
a lot of the biggest Christian, quote unquote, by word, not by action, is the Aryan Nation, the Aryan Brotherhood. That's the biggest Christian gang, like the
Mm.
KKK, unfortunately, which is a Christian
Yeah.
organization on book.
I
But
I
believe
believe.
that.
yeah,
Hmm.
I
but
believe it.
so when you have that, you're like, well, where do I go? I don't want to, be messed
Right.
with another man. I don't want to have, you know, any issue where I can't get my lunch. I don't want to have commissary and have to fight every day. So
Hmm.
guess what? Now you're putting me because everybody has ability to do criminal activity. I don't like when people say, "Oh, I could never kill anybody." Yes, you can. It just
If
requires the
you
right.
have to,
If
absolutely.
anybody ever touched my children in a way that I didn't like, you can.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm telling you, I will walk in and go, "Look, I handle whatever you did.
Hey, say
can't
circumstances.
you can't mess
Circumstances.
with my kids." So there's that thing. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that everything requires death, but what I'm
Right.
saying is there will be a consequence to you doing something to my innocent children. right?
Absolutely.
And so when you put it in that situation, and everybody feels the same way. And so when somebody says, "Oh, I don't have it in my body," yeah, you do. So it takes away from the judgment from somebody who felt like, now maybe there was a level of immaturity in whatever situation
Right.
where you didn't think long and hard about it, and maybe you made a snap decision. But how many critical thinkers do we have? How many times do they actually even teach you to be a critical thinker in school? They don't.
Yeah, they
They
don't.
teach you to follow a system. They still going back on the Rockefeller educational system where you stand in line to be to work in the mine. So that's why you don't talk. You walk in a line, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, one,
Yep.
two,
Prison
three.
to pipeline. What
Don't
is it? School to pipeline.
Yeah,
Prison pipeline. What is it
but
called?
it works perfectly for them because and when I say them, I don't mean race. I mean system, right?
Right.
It
It
works.
is all
It works
systematic.
very
It is.
well for the system that wants it to work. In this, what is it? 12, 13 families that run this entire world, right? And so
Mhm.
when you know that, yeah, it's going to work based off of whatever agenda they want to push. There's a sickness going on right now that's supposed to be stronger than COVID, and guess who's talking about it? Nobody. you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, wait.
COVID
It's gonna come up for
COVID-19
2
was
seconds.
already a thing. Yeah,
Cause some hysteria, and
yeah,
then
yeah.
something else is gonna take its
There's
place. And
always a reason.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
there's this book by Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Fake, and he talks about it. He said every 6 to 10 years there's some catastrophe where
Yes.
everybody, the millionaires become multimillionaires, the multimillionaires become billionaires, and they just keep it quiet and nobody says anything, and everybody else that's middle class or upper middle or in that area, especially lower, what do? We
Mhm.
go and buy toilet paper, Lysol wipes, and a case of
Yep.
water and some vegetables, and we go, we're safe now.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do you need toilet paper?
I'm laughing because that's true.
Yeah, it's like, why do
It
you need toilet paper?
is.
Remember when there was
You're
supposed to
afraid of
be the
Googling yourself to death?
1999? Everybody ran to the store to buy
Oh,
all this
oh my
stuff. We
goodness.
were going to have a shutdown of the
Yeah,
system.
I
Yeah.
literally remember that day, and this is not about the jail system or anything like that, but this is just funny. Speaking of that, when we had that like Midwest or the Midwest and Eastern shutdown, was that 2001, 2002? Was it
Was
2001?
the blackout?
Yeah, the
The
blackout.
blackout. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that
Blackout.
was. Yeah.
I was working at KFC on Orchard Lake and Maple, and everything shut down, and I was supposed to go because I was working at KFC and Kmart. They're right on the little Orchard Lake line, and I was dropping chicken, and everything shut down and turned off. And we took that chicken and we went and played some basketball. We went to everybody's house and was like, "Hey, we're gonna be at this park down the street." We had chicken for 3 days, and that's all we needed to do. But people were fighting each other at the Sam's Club
Yeah.
on the street for
Panic.
toilet paper and
Yeah.
Lysol wipes and canned goods. And I understand the canned goods. I don't understand Lysol wipes when you probably don't wash your hands anyway.
Right. No.
I don't. I understand the water. I don't understand toilet paper.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
you boobling yourself to death is not going to happen. It's not. It's not like it's a thing. So you should be fine. But when you create enough turmoil, which is why I do agree with the government going, you don't need to know everything. It's the same way you do in your household. If you have
Mhm.
kids, your kids don't know that Christmas was tough this year. They just
Right.
they just
Right.
want a PlayStation. It
Yes.
doesn't matter to them. And stressing about bills, you go, never mind. Were you happy? My happy is sitting in front of the TV and knowing that it turns on. So
Right. Right. Simple
those
stuff.
are those are the things that you learn as you go. And so I do agree that there are a lot of things that we should know. But I think a lot of
Mhm.
those things, if we knew everything that was going on, we wouldn't be able to handle
Oh,
it as
we
a
would
whole.
be crazy.
Yeah.
We would be
And
crazy.
so they manipulate in certain ways that are positive, but in more ways that are way negative.
Mhm.
Like the
Let
reason
me
that
tell
we
you one thing that I feel is manipulative. For instance, the Trump Epstein getting you focused on the letters and whether or not he was involved. That's all designed to keep you focused on something that's not going to do a bit. Who
Yeah.
cares? He's
Yeah.
not going to jail for whatever letters and if they were involved.
They
That's
create
to keep
distraction.
you unfocused and keep
Mhm.
your focus over here because I got other stuff going on over here. So just
Exactly.
like you, and that's with anything. Our whole system is, even when our council people spend more time arguing than looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
You got to always keep the bigger picture in mind. There's always a 50-year plan, and you're just trying to figure it out. You're in the midst of it saying, well, I'm focused on this right here. Well, there was a plan. I sat in a meeting once with the land developers uh, several years ago, and they said the blacks are doing, this was in Detroit, Michigan, and they said the blacks are doing exactly what we want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm in a room of about 400 or 500 land developers. They didn't care that me and the other 10, 15 black people heard them say the blacks are doing what
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we want them to do. And we were. They
Mm-hmm.
were trying, at the time, they were trying to impeach Archer because he didn't have enough toilet paper in the school, speaking of toilet paper. But all kind of things were
Crazy.
happening. Oh yeah, and that's a whole nother show that we'll do. But there are a lot of things that are happening even right now that are all still a part of the 50-year plan for the city of
Mm.
Detroit. And which reminds me, I'm glad I had this podcast because we're going to be talking about that. Because I heard a lot of those things. But before we go, I see the time. Um, September, share us, what are some other things that you want to share with our audience about you and about what you do? Tell us how we can get your books, how we can, where the event is that you do on the second Saturdays, where that is. And then Robert's got a question he's going to ask you as well.
Okay. So all of my books are available on Amazon, and you can do a search of September Faison, and all 6 books pop up, and including uh, the Unstoppable Voices when that comes out. I am currently working on the website septemberfaison.com. That should be up preferably this weekend.
There we go.
It's almost done. It's almost
Okay.
done. But that is the website, so just keep checking back. It'll be up soon. And the Poetry in Motion Art Show is every second Saturday from 4 to 8 p.m. at 15075 Lincoln Street in Oak Park. Is inside of the community room of Lincoln Towers. I
Mm.
am actually in the process of looking for a more permanent spot because I want to be in the city of Detroit. So, but for now, that's where it is. And
And you said it's from 4 to 7
4 from 4 to 8 p.m.
I'm going
every
to post
second
it.
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, well, if you have any flyers or anything like that, just send it to us and we'll pub it along with you. I
And
did
I'm going
some
to post it with this segment. Mm-hmm.
I did some research just now,
Mm-hmm.
looking just to check Texas. There are 100 facilities that are public prisons just in Texas. There
Mm-hmm.
are 8 private prisons, but listen to this number. Out of the 8 private prisons, 7 of them have up to 14,000 people in them. And I believe
Oh my
100
goodness.
facilities that could be just
That
Texas.
is
This
sickening.
isn't the world. And so when I hear that, I think it's hard to believe there's that many people that still need to just stay in jail. And it's not a correctional facility. You aren't
No,
correcting anything. You actually
no.
teach them
There's
to
no
become more
rehabilitation going on. It's
yeah.
not. No.
And Michigan has 27 or 28, I forget the exact number, prisons throughout the state of Michigan. And then we only have one woman's prison. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
But that's crazy. So to think
It
about
is.
Texas, we have 100
Wow.
facilities and 7 or 8 private, and 7 out of the 8 have 14,000 people in them. They
That
literally
is
went to the max of what they could hold in there. But when I hear that, I go, okay, so people wanted to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
and that's all it is. That's all
Mm-hmm.
it is. They're dollar signs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but not to end it on a somber note, but I do have one question to bring it back up. All right, so I asked this to everybody. What
Hmm.
are, if you could tell anybody, the top 3 things to do in Detroit that you like? If somebody came to Detroit and said, "What should I do?" and you said,
So you have to hit the poetry spots. It's
"Okay,
open mic happening all over the city on any given day at any given time. Um, what else? So downtown they have beautified it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
So there's
Much
so much
safer.
to do downtown. It is. But it's so much to do downtown Detroit. And also there are a lot of concerts going on. So it's wintertime right now. So they'll have the tree lighting real soon. But if you come like in the summer, then they have a lot of festivals and things at Hart Plaza, a lot of concerts, things like that. And you have to go to the Riverwalk. Absolutely visit the Riverwalk. It's
Riverwalk,
beautiful.
yes. The Riverwalk is great. Well,
Yes.
September, I'd like to thank you for coming on behalf of our
Thank you
show.
guys for having me. I so
Thank
appreciate
you.
Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Oh, Instagram, September_Faison. Also, you can do a search of Professional Storyteller on Facebook.
All right. Well, like I said, September,
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so
guys,
much.
thank you for adding in information. We have somebody else who their husband's been wrongfully convicted, so we get the information. So thank you, September, because now you are spreading the awareness, getting people more to talk about it as we move forward, and now we're able to help try to make change. Guys, I'm Robert. That's Michelle. Thank you for
Thanks
watching.
for Community Update 313.
Yeah.